everybody. Welcome to Common Censored. I am Lee Camp, joined by Eleanor Goldfield.
Hello.
And this is the show where we talk censored stories and people, sensible solutions, and common ground movements to fight and build.
And sometimes a few other things.
A few other things.
These are a few of my favorite
Of
things.
my other things.
That too, yeah.
So this is the first outdoor episode, which we're giving this a try. And so if you hear anyone from the parking lot next door yell, "Oh my God, I got my dick caught in the motor," then we'll address that. But
Wow, that's very specific.
it happened yesterday, not to me.
Not to you?
No.
So this is not like past, childhood trauma or something that's coming back to haunt everyone listening to this?
I don't want to talk about it. But also, you might have noticed that I've been on a bit of a break from my live stream videos, although there was a new Redacted Tonight that came out this past Friday, so I hope you caught that. But yeah, a bit of a break. Don't worry, it's short. I'll be back soon, and we'll be diving back into the moment of clarity stuff and everything. But that is also why we're going to do a bit of a shorter episode here, just to give you a little something, and things will be back on schedule soon. But considering I put out, and between me and Eleanor, we put out 92,000 pieces of content each week. I think my break was warranted.
You deserve it,
I deserved
Lee.
it. And a lollipop, too.
I'm not going to lie. I just ate ice cream before we recorded this. So, absolutely no shame.
So for those of you without ice cream out there, you can live vicariously through Eleanor. But yeah, let's dive into a few topics here. What's going on in the world since I've been MIA for a week from my live streams?
Well, you'll be happy or unhappy to hear that the world has been spinning without you. This little tidbit I came across via the Substack by Steven Semler called Speaking Security, which he puts together a bunch of amazing facts and stats and things. So definitely recommended if that's your thing, the security industrial complex and the like. So this is from actually April. The title is "The Flow of Military Equipment to Police Through the First Quarter of 2021." And this refers specifically to the 1033 program. So you'll probably remember that we've talked about the 1033 program on the show before, and in Lee's work and my work. The 1033 program is basically the program that funnels military equipment from the military to police. So if you're wondering why cops are looking more and more like fucking Rambo, it's because of the 1033 program. And the thing is that this program has been flooded with funds more and more with each successive presidency. So, for instance, the Defense Logistics Agency released its quarterly update in April, indicating that nearly $34 million in military gear went to police through the first quarter of this year, in 2021. That's up from $12 million from last quarter, or $9 million from the third quarter of 2020, or $10 million from the second quarter of 2020.
And let's just recall that when we're talking about military gear going to local police, this is specifically, because they are local police, for use in war against our own people.
Right.
I mean, that's what this is. This is a
Domestic
full-on
terrorism,
war.
basically.
Yeah, they're creating domestic terrorism, right. This is a full-on war against our own people. That is the only reason you would dress like a military unit to go after American citizens.
Yeah, absolutely. And so and Biden's response has not been a response.
Let me guess. It was, I have on brown shoes. What?
That at least would have been a response.
Who said that? Who said that? Talk about what? Where are we? Okay, yes. Who? Yes. Okay,
it's just like an Abbott and Costello routine.
Grandpa, it's time for bed again. Let's just go back.
So, excuse me. Stephen points out that there's roughly $1.4 billion worth of gear out there since 2013, when this program was really put into effect. And Biden's response has been basically just to side with police unions and continue the flow of this military gear. And so he makes another good point, because people might say, well, it'd be really hard to undo this, which is fucking, no, it's not. Stephen points out, quote, 1033 transfers aren't like arms export sales. The military gear that flows through 1033 is on a conditional loan. The material can be taken back. Biden can order it to be done himself without Congress. He has not. That reflects a policy decision, end quote.
And we won't belabor this point because I know we've talked a lot about it in the past, but Obama, you might recall, Obama made a big show of ending the 1033 program after, I don't remember which one of the killings of unarmed black people that happened. But it didn't actually change. We made fun of the fact that, like, one of the main things that was stopped was bayonets, which was a real problem,
right.
The bayonet issue. But on top of that, I just wanted to mention that Biden, through his entire career, has been like Mr. Police. Like, not just the, of course, atrocious, phenomenally racist 94 crime bill that made the United States the #1 prison state in the world. But not just that, but all kinds of pro-policing measures that Biden championed, led, wrote during his many years in the Senate. He, staff has come forward and said that during that time, he basically said, any police bill you can come up with or find that's coming through the Senate, I want to be at the front of it. So anytime you think like, wow, the police have way too much power, they're immune to prosecution, they go run around killing American citizens, anytime you think that, Biden was at the front of that.
Right. You can thank him for the situation we're in now that he is continuing to perpetuate, which is in line with his past political career, which is why it's so fucking infuriating that people are still saying, oh, well, let's give him time, see what he does. What the fuck? Like,
just a few more years.
Right, because clearly the first 3 decades or 4 decades of his political career were just warming up to, I don't know, be a fucking socialist. Stop. Please stop.
Listen, AOC told us he's exceeded expectations.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's only fallen up one flight of stairs, so that's good. But so the basic thing is this. It would and something that Trump did during his presidency was he was constantly signing executive orders. Dude, couldn't put the fucking pen down for more than 10 minutes.
The only, I think, I don't know if he did anything through Congress other than that one atrocious tax bill.
Right.
So the giant tax break for corporations and the wealthiest Americans, he did that through Congress. Other than that, I don't know fucking anything went through Congress. It was all just, and we're told by the mainstream media that Trump was the most damaging president that's ever existed. And he did it all without Congress.
Right.
So clearly, the power is there.
So all Biden would need to do is issue an executive order that, 1, prevents future transfers through the 1033 program, and 2, recalls the military equipment from police custody, which, again, as I already noted, you can do because it's on a, quote, conditional loan, which means that it's not like you gave it for a Christmas present and you'd be taking it back. It's on loan like a fucking library book that kills thousands of people. So
that's a rough book right there.
So it'd be so fucking easy.
Is it written by Alan Dershowitz or what?
He could literally just order the DOD to take it back. Now, of course, I don't want the Pentagon to have more weapons either, but the idea here is to get it away from police and then also, of course, address the imperialist machine at the same time. We can, walk and chew gum at the same time.
Well, right, and most of it they're giving out to police departments because the military doesn't use it. They're either beyond it, meaning it's a type of body armor they don't use anymore, or it's a type of warfare they don't much use anymore. So they use far fewer MRAPs, because there's not ground battles going on for our military anymore.
Right, and because the Pentagon budget is so bloated, they just make weapons
right.
without actually needing them.
Yeah.
How many fucking tanks are in the Nevada desert?
Thousands.
Fucking
Thousands.
It's so they're just pumping out weaponry, and the 1033 program is a great release valve. So actually, you could definitely argue the point that if you clamped down, if you shut down the release valve of the 1033 program, you could more easily shut down the production of weapons in general, because there wouldn't be a release valve to funnel those
Right,
weapons.
the pile of bayonets will just be out front of the Pentagon. Got to do something with it.
I'm suggesting a yard sale. Maybe have some cupcakes as well. I'm just brainstorming here.
Yeah, fair. It's a fair point. Get it. Buy a bayonet, get a cupcake, or buy a cupcake, get a bayonet. One or the other.
If you bayonet a cupcake, I'll workshop it and I'll get back to you.
I don't know where that was going. So, shall I hit the next story here? It's very, very related.
The bird wants to be a part of the broadcast here.
I mean, who doesn't? Every member of nature wants to be a part of this broadcast.
Go ahead.
So, very related on Biden policing, endless policing, never backing off policing, promoting the fucking oppression and abuse of everybody in America. But this happens to do with immigrants in America. So I tweeted about this, and it got a lot of response. But it's basically that new numbers of Biden's proposed upcoming budget are out, and the budget increases ICE funding over Trump's last year by $18 million, making it $7.99 billion over Trump's final year, which was $7.97 billion for ICE. So that's 18 million over Trump's final year, but it's also 1.5 billion over Obama's ICE budget. And all of this, let's keep in mind, is sent to help thugs abuse and traumatize immigrants fleeing pain and suffering that the U.S. helped create in Latin America. I mean, we helped create it. People then come here trying to get away from it. We then imprison them, abuse them, to separate them from their children in so many different ways, just cause harm and hardship to them. And, you could go down the list of insane stories about ICE and Border Patrol, like the walking around and stabbing the water jugs, emptying out the water jugs that have been left for people crossing the desert who are basically dying out there.
They're the fucking Gestapo.
Many die every year. I mean, I always wonder what they tell their kids when they get home. Daddy went to work today, and he made sure immigrants will die in the desert. Yeah, that's what your pappy does.
Yeah, and much like the 1033 program here, we have to look. People, especially younger people, will look at ICE and think, oh, well, it's always been there. It's just it's like the CIA or the FBI,
right.
Which, by the way, you could abolish those too. But ICE has only been around since 2003. It's younger than most people.
Yeah, than most people walking around.
So I think it's, it couldn't even legally get a drink. I think, we should. So it's important to put these things into perspective, because these things so quickly, particularly with the push for goldfish style memories, the propagandization, we think of these institutions as if they're hardwired and hard-baked into the fabric of our country. And while those ideas certainly are, the institutions themselves aren't, and they could easily be done away with. It would be so easy to get rid of ICE, just like it was pretty easy to fucking create the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to recognize that saying abolish ICE is really not that big of an ask.
Right.
It is very simple.
Right.
So
and yet they love to act like saying such a thing as, oh my God, it's crazy. It's like anarchy.
Well, and how would we ever
which they equate to chaos, but
and how would we ever survive without it? Because we've never survived without it. Right?
Yeah. No, do you remember before ICE? It was just people running naked down the streets. It's like, no, it was, everything was going fine. You just didn't have as much abuse of immigrants at the border. Right.
And I mean, to be clear, the U.S. has always been anti-immigrant. And I think that's another important thing to recognize about U.S. history. I always see these signs at protests and shit that say, being pro-immigration is American. I'm like, no, it's not. Whether it be the Italians, the Irish, the Jews, like pick your. No one has ever been welcome here, like in the first like wave of immigration.
Unless the only time you could say they were welcome was when the United States was offering programs to push immigrants out into Native American land, so that it was basically like, you go fight the Native Americans because we don't want to. So we'll give you, it's the whole Oklahoma Sooner thing.
Right.
We'll give you a plot of land if you run out into what they consider the wilderness and stake your claim.
I guess I'm, as a word nerd, I'm making a differentiation
I know.
between colonizers and immigrants. Because look,
I'm
like
kind of kidding around.
when my dad's parents, when they were here, they got like a little spot in Brooklyn or something. They sure as shit weren't taking over a bunch of land, which would have been hilarious because I'm pretty sure my dad's allergic to grass, so I don't think that would have worked out well.
Grass and sunshine. So if anyone's curious, just to go through some of the numbers on this chart that is from the Department of Homeland Security budget requests, Obama had a $6.44 billion ICE. Then Trump increased it just about every year to $7.08 billion, then $7.59 billion. Then Trump's peak year was $8.08, then slightly backed off. I don't know why that happened, but to $7.97 billion. And now Biden is
Didn't he take money out for the wall?
Probably something like that. And then Biden is at $7.99 billion. So they want to leave the $0.01 billion short so they can say, it's not $8 billion. I mean, $8 billion. But it's just, it's fucking atrocious. And imagine where that money could go.
I was just thinking that.
Imagine how many fucking kids that could give school lunches to, or clean up water systems, or, plant trees, help people, create housing for the homeless, affordable housing. Like, it's just so many fucking things that money could go
to, like actually looking after people as opposed to oppressing, terrorizing, and murdering them. I don't know. That's just a thought.
Slow down.
Just a thought.
Back up and draw.
I'm brainstorming.
Can you draw this out? Because I don't.
I know it's confusing.
Can I get a picture?
Well, I'm not great at drawing. Maybe one of our listeners could draw you a picture.
All right, we can start with a hand turkey, and we'll go from there.
See, I could never even do those.
A hand turkey?
Yeah, well, because
you just trace your hand.
No, I know, but
I've put eyes on it.
Yeah, but it never looked right. My hand looks nothing like a turkey. Okay, I don't know. Maybe my fingers are too long. It looks like a creepy ass turkey. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, abolish ICE, get rid of the 1033 program, and these are, of course,
And Biden's not progressive.
And Biden's, that is a thread that I feel runs through most of our work, really.
Right.
And of course, we talk about abolishing police and prisons and things like that as well, but we're talking about these two things, not just because they're topical, but also because it is easy to get rid of them, whereas deeper structures that literally have a foothold in the creation of this nation, such as the military, such as the police, they're more difficult. And they're also, they require more conversations about what are we doing instead of, how are we addressing public safety without police and without prisons? What kind of community programs are we instituting to ensure people's safety? Because the antithesis of that is police. And so, but unlike that, like, you don't really have to prepare to get rid of ICE or the 1033 program. If they were fucking gone tomorrow, the only thing that would happen is that a bunch of people would be happier. Right. Really the only difference. And a bunch of fascists would be unhappy.
And Sean Hannity would have a heart attack, which is a plus.
That's what I'm saying. Like, only positives here. There's only positives.
So some quick notes before we get to the next news story is that we've mentioned No Solo, Eleanor's new EP, which has been getting awesome reviews.
Yeah.
And you guys can grab it at artkillingapathy.com. You heard the song at the beginning. That's Pyre from the EP. And
music video coming out soon.
Music video soon. And yeah, you can go grab it at artkillingapathy.com. By the way, if you're a member at our member site, liberapay.com, /Lee Camp, and you are owed a free copy of the album, of the EP, then we need you to email us because we don't collect data on y'all when you sign up to become a member. So if you are owed one for being a member at liberapay.com/Lee Camp, then please email commonsensor to protonmail.com and we'll send you your free digital copy. Also, just to spell that out real quick, it's liberapay, liberapay.com/Lee Camp.
Like liberate pay, but without the TE.
Right. They're French. They're weird.
Well, then it would be like liberté, but it's not, so I don't really know. But either way. And also just a heads up, if you've emailed commonsensor to protonmail.com and you haven't gotten a response, it's because I'm in and out of service, like not like servicing your emails, but like actual, I mean that too, but like in general Wi-Fi service. So just I'll be back in DC out of the trees in mid-June. So just hold tight. I'll get to it. You will get your PDF. Don't worry.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, so I mentioned the emails commonsensor at protonmail.com. My book is at leecampbook.com. And Eleanor's movie is at hardroadofhope.com. Despite the fact that I have been on a break, there has been a new episode of Redacted Tonight every week. So if you missed last Friday, go to leecamp.com and check out the new episode. And unlike before, you can now watch the new episodes directly from my website. If you click on the link.
I'm sorry, that just makes me excited.
I know. People don't like to click two things. So, yeah, you can now watch it directly at my website. Just go to leecamp.com and check out the new episode. All right, let's move on to one more topic before we wrap up this shorter than normal episode.
But action-packed.
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 Absolutely.
And
Eleanor's kicking me under the table, so you have no idea the level of action involved.
And we got birds, we got trees.
We got that guy that got his dick in the
carburetor. I'm beginning to think there's something between you two, which is fine. I feel bad for him. I hope he makes a speedy recovery. So this story is about the collective or the group called Protect Thacker Pass. So in Humboldt County, Nevada, not to be confused with Humboldt County, California, part of the McDermott caldera, approximately 60 miles northwest of Winnemucca, which I didn't even know that was. When I read that, I was like, oh my God, that's that Johnny Cash song. I've been and he says Winnemucca in there. That's one of like the 5 billion places that he mentions.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere.
So there's a bit of trivia for you. Anyway,
I thought he was making that up. Winnemucca.
Well, that's the thing. He could make up like most of those places, and the average human wouldn't know because the average human hasn't been to all of those fucking places.
True.
Anyway, so first of all, there's a proposition, and on their website they list like this incredible area is so biodiverse, so expansive, and we oftentimes think of deserts as, like completely void of life, but that's bullshit. Thacker Pass is home to dozens of animals and plant life, several of whom are endangered. And the goal here is a lithium mine. So lithium, as you know, is what they use to produce and manufacture batteries. So basically in order to produce, let's say, 1 ton of lithium, you have to strip mine. And what strip mining means is you basically like just fucking destroy the, like, you
just cut away the earth.
Right. That's a very good way of putting it. Thank you. And processing between 110 and 500 tons of that earth that you've stripped away. The end product is lithium carbonate or lithium hydroxide. Hi.
Oh, that's nice. We got that going.
You know what? I have never been able to hear a car alarm since my friend, without laughing, since my friend pointed out that what if it's this guy with like perfect tempo that's just sitting in there like a savant hitting the horn?
One guy just going nuts.
Yeah. That's just what I've always thought of. So...
Should we stop?
Okay.
Perfect timing.
See, Lee said, "Should we stop?" And I gave him a look, like, "Let's just wait it out."
Let's just
and
wait
lo
it
and
out.
behold,
Maybe I should reveal that I also stabbed that guy in the thigh.
Just a little patience. Okay, I'm all about the song Connect.
Our first episode outside is a win. I'll just say that.
Actually, I paid them to turn their car alarm on. Okay. So, and this, it gets worse. So, hold on. They will then build a sulfuric acid plant at the site to convert molten sulfur into sulfuric acid to leach the lithium from the clay stone where it's housed.
Jesus Christ.
Following the leaching, which is as disgusting as it sounds, the lithium-bearing solution is purified using crystallizers and reagents to produce battery-grade Li2CO3.
This sounds like what Lucifer does to the bankers when he's looking to drink their souls.
Which I'm totally cool with that.
Oh, I didn't say it was a problem. I'm just saying.
Also, it's interesting that you said Lucifer. I feel like most people just say the devil or Satan. You went like on a first name basis.
Yeah, I work close. We know each other.
Hundreds of tons of sulfur, which is waste from oil refineries, will be trucked in and burned every day at the mine site. Roughly 75 semi-truckloads of sulfur a day. This in turn will, of course, produce thousands of tons of sulfuric acid every day, up to 5,800 tons a day. Okay, I know I'm throwing a bunch of numbers at you, but like the point here is lithium mining is fucking destructive as hell. And we think about lithium as, oh, this is this great resource that you just, pick up out of the ground like you're picking up a rock, and then you shove it in your car, and then away we go. But no, just like any other like material, whether that be coal, which has to be washed with this incredibly heavy chemical solution, and then that runoff ends up contaminating groundwater. Mm-hmm. This is a multi-step process to get to that actual piece that can be used by, Tesla or, whatever company or institution we're talking about. And there's this quote by the CEO of American Lithium, which is a company it is not the company that's doing this mine, but it's another lithium mining company. He said the quote, "The future demand for lithium is truly staggering. Battery demand is rising at the rate of 1 to 2 new lithium mines per year, growing to 2 to 3 mines per year by 2020. So imagine the numbers I just told you, times 3 a year in various places in the U.S. and other places around the world, and you've got a situation that is like as destructive as a lot of fossil fuel endeavors. So, for instance, the Lithium Nevada Corp, a subsidiary of the Canadian corporation Lithium Americas, proposes to build an open-pit lithium mine in the Thacker Pass that begins with a project area of almost 18,000 acres.
18,000
acres.
Acres filled with this toxic sludge.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
And this would basically, and of course they claim that they're green, when the mine is fully operational, it will produce 152,703 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions every year.
So you're saying green?
Green, totally.
Sounds green to me.
And there's, the Protect Thacker Pass website, protectthackerpass.org, has a great fact sheet that has information on it that just makes you want to fucking punch Elon Musk in the face. Although I wanted to do that well before this, but now I want to punch him even harder. So this, things like the Thacker Pass mine would burn around 11,300 gallons of diesel fuel per day for on-site operations. So,
oh my God.
What the fuck? These green endeavors
alternatives,
right? Yeah. And so I think, and the other thing is, if you've ever been to Nevada, pretty dry, right? Little crusty.
Yeah.
This mine would require 1.7 billion gallons of water annually from the aquifer in the Quinn River Valley, which is already over-allocated by more than 30,000 acre-feet per year.
And I'm not, this might not be in the article, but let me guess. The state gave them giant tax subsidies to even come there.
I'm sure.
So it was like, come destroy our environment and suck up all of our water and, just fucking destroy our air and release more carbon than most, things going on in the entire state. And we'll give you money to do it.
Right. And again, this evens out to roughly 3,000 gallons per minute in one of the driest regions in the entire country.
Oh, water. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And the folks at Protect Thacker Pass point out that this comes at a time when the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation is ready to make the federal government's first ever official water shortage declaration, which will prompt water consumption cuts in Nevada. So, again, this reminds me of when I lived in California and the drought started. And they were like, you just need to shower less.
Yeah, just shower a little less. Or share a shower with a stranger. And
meanwhile, there was plenty of water for fracking operations that were using billions of gallons of fresh water. No one ever said, stop fracking.
Nope.
They were like, you just need to stop showering. As if when I shower, I use 1 billion gallons of water. So, and I think, I think it's really important because the conversation about things like fracking is getting to the point where, okay, we recognize that it's, well, I say we, most people.
A lot of people.
Most people who aren't politicians recognize that this is no fucking bridge fuel. It's incredibly destructive to humans, to ecosystems, all of it. And yet we talk about things like lithium, like that's the future, right? All we need to do is just get some lithium and we'll be set. But we have to look at what lithium mining means. I believe earlier this year, or maybe even last year, I don't know, fucking time is weird right now, we covered a story about deep sea lithium mining, where there was a proposal to literally mine the bottom of the fucking ocean.
The one place we've left alone.
Right. Where there are species we don't even fucking know about.
Yeah.
There are ecosystems we can't understand, and we can't understand what destroying them would mean for the ocean, which is already at a fucking tipping point. And yet we're like, forge ahead, we need lithium.
At least we probably have it down to, I'm sure, an art to get that lithium out of the bottom of the ocean and do it just really effectively and sustainably and
Absolutely.
I'm sure. Far better than the Deepwater Horizon or anything.
You'd only kill roughly 50% of the species. We don't, and you don't even know that those species exist anyway. So you wouldn't miss them.
You're not losing anything.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's we really need to consider the effects of so-called greenwashed and sustainable endeavors that are not at all sustainable. I should say so-called sustainable that are just greenwashed, and consider how we could actually have a livable future. And like I've said before, one of the primary things that we have to talk about is consuming less. We just have to fucking consume less. That includes batteries, but that includes everything.
Right. That's why it drives me nuts when they're like, well, the answer, Biden says the answer to climate change is to switch everybody to electric cars, but everybody should still have 2 cars. It's like, no, it has to be both. You have to switch to electric cars, and also we shouldn't all have cars.
Right.
Even with electric cars, if everybody lived like Americans around the world, we would need, 5 or 10 Earths to sustain anything close to what would be required. So it's just bullshit to be like, listen, everybody just keep going goddamn nuts, balls to the wall, and we're going to put up some windmills. It'll be fine.
Right. Right. So, yeah, basically, if you want to learn more about that project, again, they've got such a great website set up with fact sheets and, solidarity statement with the people of Red Mountain. So check out protectthackerpass.org. I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Well, that is it, guys. Thank you for joining us on this special episode of Common Censored. I will be back to a regular schedule this coming week and putting out a bunch of live streams and shit. So, yeah, keep an eye out for Moment of Clarity. There'll be a new Redacted Tonight, all that good stuff. If you haven't seen the newer episodes of Redacted Tonight, go to leecamp.com, give them a look. Check out Eleanor's new EP at artkillingapathy.com. And what else? What am I missing?
I think that's it. So we won't be doing a Common Censored episode next week, but look out for the episode the following week.
Yes, we'll be back soon. So don't get nervous if you don't see quite the exact, every Wednesday timing, but we will be back soon. And for all of you who joined at liberapay.com/LeeCamp, you're the ones that make this show possible. Honestly, we couldn't do it without you. And if for anybody who wants to throw in $1 a week, like if you feel like you got $1 from this dollar's worth of content from this episode, go to liberapay.com/LeeCamp and keep fighting.
Act out.